So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our video of Mars in the 7th house for Aquarius Ascendant people, as in what happens when Mars is in the 7th house. Well, it rules the 10th house and the 3rd house. And as always, if you do not know, if you have this position and all your astrological details, you can go to karasastrology.com where you'll find my books, reports, consultations, and link to my academy, Magha Vedic Astrology Academy, where I have all the new courses, especially related to blank chart predictions from Aries to Cancer. Leo will come next week. Right now I'm going to also review charts of students who have joined. Okay. So, Mars in the 7th house. See, originally Mars in the 7th house is excellent in marriage. See, this is Mars in 7th house is not a bad position for marriage because the entire energy of this individual goes to their marriage. They love to work for the marriage. They love to fight for the marriage. They love to protect the marriage. Why? Because remember, Mars will always protect the 1st and 4th place from itself. Why? Because Mars is the general, commander of the army, or you can even say a soldier, right? We consider Mars as the soldier fighter. Now, wherever the fighter stands, they're going to protect themselves and that area, the circumference around them. Okay? If you create a radius around them, you come and try to attack them, they're going to fight. They're going to protect who they are. So here the person wants to protect the spouse and wants to protect the marriage. But what happens here is this: because of the Aquarius Ascendant, this particular Mars will get their egos challenged in the marriage. The type of spouse you will attract, they are here to target your ego, challenge and destroy your ego. Because remember, this is the 3rd lord in the 7th. That means not only Mars has to work, but Mars has to work extremely hard. And Mars, being the 3rd and 10th lord, becomes a trick lord for the Aquarius Ascendant. A lot of times with Mars in the 7th in Leo, a person gets tricked into getting married. Meaning they see something else while they should be seeing something else to pick the spouse. And what happens is, because spouse is challenging you, they're here to challenge and shatter your ego because of the trick lord position. Over time, because they keep invoking that anger, okay, the spouse themselves will have anger in them, and because this is your Mars, it invokes the fire within you. And what happens is, and we don't know any other conjunction or aspects with this planet right now. Okay, we don't know if there's a blessing of Jupiter. We don't know if there's a additional army of Saturn. We don't know that right now. But just by with this Mars, what it does, that there's so much fire within the marriage. Like, you will see this person even in a relationship. It's like, it's not a dripping fire that slowly burns to its full strength. Right? When you start a fire, it starts out small and grows and grows and grows, and you start to enjoy that heat. And then that heat, you get used to that heat. Here is like a volcano eruption. The person can give everything at the same time. So yeah, it is a very strong attraction here with Mars in the 7th. Usually, if let's say Mars is in the 7th and Venus is in the 11th, a person is going to be extremely attracted to the opposite sex. Not only, I'm not saying this person will be attracted, they will become the attraction for the opposite sex. They naturally attract people towards them. But because, if we go back to what I was saying, because of that so much fire or that volcano that erupts, it cools down and calms down. Then what happens is, it becomes barren because everything is burnt. There's nothing else to burn. When there's nothing else to burn, what is that particular place? It becomes a barren wasteland, or it becomes a desert. So eventually with this, we see that a person feels very barren in the marriage because they feel like I have exhausted myself. You will see these people say these type of quotes. I have exhausted myself in marriage. And even though if you look at both the stories of the husband and wife, it's not like they just became exhausted and they are the one giving, because if that other spouse goes to another astrologer, they will say something similar. I have exhausted myself, but my spouse just is too fiery. They both will. So you have to take everything with a grain of salt when someone says something. And especially with Mars in the 7th house, you will see within the marriage, it'll always create disputes with the person's own family. The person has to separate from themselves, from the family. Family becomes oblivion, but here with this particular Mars, it actually has a fiery reason behind it. Because of the marriage, or especially early in stage when the volcano is erupting, they'll fight for the spouse even if they have to let go of the family. And then the thing is, because of this particular volcano erupting, and when it calms down, then they not only feel barren with their marriage, but they also feel barren with the family. Now, how is it that, now this sounds like a negative prediction, but it's actually something that you may align yourself with. That whenever you date somebody, whenever you get into a relationship, don't be like so hasty. Don't be giving them everything and giving them the entire passion, the entire protection all at once. Becoming complete subservient to them. Why? Because 7th house is a sign of Leo, King, Royal Rashi. This is why the commander-in-chief is fully dedicated to the sign of Leo. Okay. Like Leo is actually secondary exalted sign of actually Jupiter and Mars, both. Because imagine you're in a king's royal palace. Who goes in the royal palace? Who goes into the White House? Somebody important, right? You have to be important if you're like a dignitary, if you are an ambassador. You're going to the White House to meeting the president, talking to them about certain negotiations, talking to them about tariffs. You know, you have something important. You have made it in life. So on the other hand, you know, we see that this person actually gets a great distinctions in their profession and in their community through their hard work. And literally this Mars will show the moment this person starts working, any job, they begin to accelerate. Even if this person started in McDonald's, working as a cashier, eventually this person becomes a manager of that particular McDonald's. Even if they're like 19, 20, 21, they will do it. They have transformed their life through career. So this is why it's a great position for someone to accelerate, like whatever career they go through, whether let's say it's a bad economy, okay, fine, they got laid off, they don't have a job, but whenever they do have a job, they begin to transform that workplace. And they begin to show that commanding nature, and this is why, because of their sheer hard work, precision, and their natural ability to show the fire of leadership, they accelerate in that. But the thing is, the problem becomes when 10th Lord is in the 7th house, you treat your marriage as a business. Marriage becomes a form of business and work. You become very cooperative with this. And this is where you need to kind of settle down. And so this is why, again, going back to the thing, what can you do? You just got to be calm. You got to take things slow in relationship and marriage. Number 1. Number 3, this is very important for this person in Mars and Leo to play some sport. And actually, it's not even the 7th house. Any house Mars in Leo, when you play sport, it burns that extra Agni down. So that means if somebody tries to piss you off, you're too exhausted to be rebelling against that. They won't be able to piss you off. So when you have Mars in the 7th house and you have physical activities, whether you're doing yoga, whether you're doing going to the gym, playing sports by yourself, let's say you even play sports by yourself, you go to a golf course and you play golf by yourself, when you burn for a couple of hours or an hour, that fire within you, it will naturally balance your Mars out in marriage. You will see when you go play a sport, somehow the energy between you and the spouse becomes calm. But the other thing that also happens is through marriage, this person's status rises. Through marriage, this person's career gets transformed. But also what happens is when it comes to the seventh house or their 10th house, they will pick the 10th house. They will protect their career more than even the marriage. And so this again has to be taken into account as that balancing factor so you don't deal with this particular issue of Mars. Now, on the other hand, like I was giving you the Jupiterian example, the blessings of Jupiter. Okay, so the blessings of Jupiter will show that I'll give you a difficult time period trying to get divorce. Like this person may have a very hard time, especially in a female's chart. If Jupiter aspects Mars, they'll have a hard time getting divorced. As much as they want to, they won't be able to. But on the other hand, what happens is Jupiter is igniting Mars. Jupiter is blessing Mars that, hey, go do what you're supposed to do. See, this is how you need to start looking at Jupiter. Jupiter is not there to save. Jupiter is there to enhance the quality of whatever there is in a particular house. So here, Jupiter is trying to ignite Mars's energy even more. But here, one thing that definitely helps this Mars, if Venus is with somehow trine from Mars or with Mars or aspects Mars. It's like you're picking up a weapon for some reason, but then there's a beautiful woman in front of you. Something beauty is in front of you. Some enchanting, goddess is in front of you. Your weapon will drop. So more than Jupiter, actually Venus helps Mars here for Aquarius Ascendant. So if Venus is with Mars in any house with for an Aquarius Ascendant, somehow, some way the marriage is managed. May not be good, but it's managed. There's fire and then there is cooling because Venus is Jal Tattva. Spouse will take over your steam. Why? Because spouse actually will be much more hot and angrier than you with this particular Mars. Okay. And the other thing we also see, because Mars is the third lord in the 7th house, if you have younger sibling, the younger sibling has to get married first before you get married. If you want to get married, you're 28 years old, sibling is 24, get the younger sibling married. You will automatically get into the matrimonial business dealing. Automatically, without effort. Okay. The one thing that I will advise here whenever, let's say, especially if Mars is retrograde in the 7th house, you should go far away and get married. And marry twice. Meaning, you did your, let's say, Indian wedding, Christian wedding. 6 months later, again, just you and your spouse go and do another ritual and wedding. When Mars is retrograde. Okay. But what happens, especially when Mars is retrograde, the planet wants to make its mark. See, retrograde planets want to do something extraordinary into the world. For example, if your 10th lord is retrograde, you will do something magnificent to wanting to change the world. So when Mars is retrograde, the person wants to do something different in the marriage and they want to do something remembrance. That's something of a remembrance within the marriage. Okay. And because of Mars in the 7th house, usually sometimes a person becomes their own worst enemy. Well, because Mars is looking at the ascendant. They hurt themselves just so they can feel that they want to make the other person feel hurt as well. Mars will also do that in the 10th house as well, in any house. When Mars is in the 10th house, a person will hit themselves just to show the other person they're angry. So in this case, like in order to show them anger, they will destroy their work when they get angry. They will throw their laptop on the wall when they get angry with the spouse or with anybody. Okay. So anyway, guys, this was my analysis of Mars in the 7th house as for Aquarius Ascendant people. Again, if you're new to my channel, subscribe below so you don't miss this type of videos. So if you want to know everything about your chart, check out the links here. Aquarius Astrology under shop section. You'll find all my consultation. Bye-bye.